let's talk about, because we're here for an art project, and you're a photographer, and we talked a lot about photography, but you're more interested about your subject. That's why you said photography is just a medium which I use to express things I want to say. And now you're here doing things about dreaming, and maybe you could tell a little bit about this project.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm really interested in the fact that the world we live in, especially in the West of the world, is a world where science is our new religion, right? We skipped all the other religions, and now we have this new one, and it's called science. And people get angry when you call it a religion, because it's not at all, because it's something that you can prove. And of course, this is very true. And I think it's very important that we have this, and it makes us understand the world, and it also makes us able to change the world in ways that we want, that we can have a better life as people, but also a better world, a better environment. So this is all super amazing, but I think it's not the only thing. And the rational world that we live in, it's super rational, and we are more than just our heads. We are not like walking heads. We are bodies that have a lot more than heads. We have hearts and feelings and guts, and there's a lot happening there. And I think we are slightly going into a direction where we are missing a lot of that and ignoring a lot of that. So I was thinking about that, and I thought, dreams is a thing everybody can understand. It's, by the way, also a thing that gets rationalized a lot. Mm-hmm. So the dreams we have at night, by my least favorite person, Freud, he also tries to rationalize that. So also take that out of the realms of magic. Yeah. So I think it's good to go back to these realms of magic and to embrace that there are things we will never know and we will never understand.
And just leave it like this. I mean,
maybe not even leave it like that, but embrace that this is the fact, and that this also adds to our life, and that this is part of reality, and not just something that you have this little corner in maybe the world of the arts or the world of
spiritual,
vague spiritual people that are concerned about that.
But then on the other hand, people from this strange spiritual people, I don't know exactly what we're talking about, but often they are explaining it in a different way than a scientific way, but they have explanations like it's a ghost or it's God or. But I think you want to do something else, no?
True. I think it's nice to keep it in the not knowing and to embrace that feeling of not knowing and to leave it there and not explain it.
To embrace it, but to leave it, to embrace it, but in the same time leave it there, not explained, as a mystical thing, which is just nice that it's there.
Yeah, I think so, because I think that's the deepest feeling of being alive actually often comes from things we cannot understand, things like love or falling in love or being struck by something really beautiful in nature, for example. These are all things that are really hard to explain, and at the same time they are the things that makes us feel alive and real. So
and when you try to explain, it's not. The whole mystical thing is away. For example, if you localize love in your brain, not so interesting. I mean,
exactly, and also you feel intuitively already that this is not the whole story. No. This is things in your brain or this smells of another person's body. Yeah. Of course, it's all part of it, and you can explain it like that. But
love
it's
is
not
more.
Everything.
Yeah. If it was only this feeling in your brain, then you could fall in love with the gray stone. But the thing is, you fall in love with a certain person.
Yeah.
And there's happening something magical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think this magic is what is beautiful and what makes our life worth living. Yeah. So I want to translate this into photography.
And why here on La Palma?
Here on La Palma, I noticed already from the first time I came here that there's something magical about this island, and it's ever changing. and you never know what she's going to give you. It's this moment she gives you rain and then sun, and there's I think there's no weather app in the world that can predict her well. So that's interesting also. People trying to explain.
And you have many landscapes. You have the mountains.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so there's
high mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's of course this whole island came from the deepest down of the earth, and which is of course also disruptive since the volcano that last year erupted. But this whole island is formed from the belly of the earth, which is already like quite magical to me if you think about it.
And then you have this view on the stars.
Exactly, and there's the stars.
On top of it.
And in a way, you don't often see them in other places, which is of course also why all the researchers of the stars are here, and it's their favorite place too. Yeah, so I think it really fits. This island really fits this this enhancing or embracing dreams.
And what kind of photos are you making?
I think you will have to see them once they're made. So you are working on a book here on La Palma. So maybe can you tell us a little bit what it is about, and also how being on La Palma and being an artist in residence in this program, what it does for your project?
Yes, so my book is about feminism for men. I mean, this is not real. I'm working on it, so not totally, but it has to do with this. So in one way, how I as a man can be a feminist. Is it possible? Is it good to be a feminist? Maybe, and is what happening to women that are still in they still have another position and things like this. Is it important that men also try to change this? And in another way, I'm thinking, what are there things which are beneficial for men in feminism? Because we also have to act in a certain way in this society. We have to be strong, and we have to be certain about things, and we have to pay in the restaurant and things like this. And maybe it's also nice if we can play another role. So I'm thinking in both ways. And yes, it's really nice to have the opportunity to do it here. First of all, because I have the time and the silence and the beautiful nature, and to work on this project and to have concentration for this project. And on the other hand, because I get the opportunity to talk with people here, to see another vision about this, because I live in Amsterdam and there I have my friends and I talk with people about this subject, but here they have another perspective. And that's really nice. And I found out that there are also people really on this island. There are people which are really who are really interested in the subject. And
so, would you feel different perspectives are like? What is something you heard that maybe is new to you, or maybe you heard in a different way?
Yes, the whole accent on violence within families and things like this. There was even a demonstration here in the street for this, so that there's really a lot of people who are concerned about this here. And I think this, of course, I think it's terrible that this exists, and it's also a demonstration about macho behavior. And the interesting thing about this, what I learned, that this macho behavior on the one hand, which could look quite innocent, like acting like a real man, but then this violence is also part of it. Not that all the macho people are using violence, but in a way it has to do with each other. And I think this is really interesting, something which I saw, I heard on this island from people, and I think this is an interesting part of the whole for my book.
Yeah. So it's you're saying it's not necessarily that if you behave in a certain way you're more macho. You're a man that likes to explain everything to women.
Yeah,
or,
mansplaining, for instance.
Things like this. That doesn't make you somebody that kills women necessarily.
No.
But it's part of the same culture, and therefore we should rethink what we see as normal and acceptable behavior.
Yes.
And this is, of course, difficult because I've been, as a woman, somebody that identifies as a woman and somebody that is perceived as a woman, I have been trying all my life, I think I can say, to tell certain men to not say certain things to me, or not touch me if I don't want this, or not call me names, or not yell at me in the street, or not make me feel threatened, or not explain things to me that I already know and maybe better than them, or to take me seriously. Like all these things, it's really hard, and men feel often really attacked.
When you will
say something about it, especially when it's something like small, but still part of the problem.
But most men aren't aware of the fact. I wasn't, and now I'm a little bit more, but that normally when I walk in the street, also when it's night, I'm quite at ease. Sometimes I feel a little bit afraid when, I don't know, when you're in a certain dangerous city or something, but normally it's okay. And I live in a city in Amsterdam, and some people say Amsterdam is a dangerous city, but I feel always at ease. But then I didn't realize that most women are always a little bit, afraid maybe something could happen. When a man is passing, they're just trying to not to show that they're interested or something, because they're always a little bit afraid. And this is logical, because things happen, and it has to do with a few men who are doing this, but all the women has this problem. So
and I don't think women are not necessarily all afraid. I think that's not the right word to use,
they're
because
more,
I think it's
how do you call this?
They are
more a little bit difficult
aware. It's more a certain awareness, I think, that there's a possibility something could happen. So I think that's very different from being afraid necessarily.
No, but I was looking for a word between aware and being afraid. It's like it's in their mind all the time. It's like this, and they have this.
And you have to relate to this as a woman. True. And so, what do you feel about, like, what I encounter a lot, and I'm interested in what you feel about that, is men that say, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not going up to women in a dark street and
I don't make
doing something, and I don't make bad jokes, and so it's not my problem. What do you feel about that?
I think it's their problem as well. First of all, I think they're not really, what they say is not really true. Although they mean what they say, it's not that they say they're lying, but it's not really true, because it's really subtle. It's in all, if there's a conversation with men only, they often make jokes about women, or there are these subtle things. And so, and it's really difficult not to go on, to go along with this and to participate. And then on the other hand, if you say, okay, I don't have anything to do because I'm not doing this, other men are doing this, and it's in the heads of many people. And so you should, I think if you become aware of this, you should do things. You should, when you're with other men, you should say, okay, I do not really like this joke, or what you do now, it goes a little bit too far, or things like this. So I think people who say, I'm not doing anything and I don't see the difference between men and women, it's not really true. You always see this difference. You already see it with the small things. I mean, when I meet someone, when it's a man, I give him a hand, and when it's a lady, we hug or we give kisses. And everybody's doing this, so we make a difference directly. The first thing we do when we see someone, we are aware of the fact that it's a lady or a man. And so it's impossible to say I don't make this.
So you think it's the responsibility of everybody.
And if you're aware of this, it's a responsibility for everybody. Also for women.
I think I agree with you.
Also for women.
Yeah.